Oh my goodness, it's Thursday. It's almost the weekend. And what better way to close your week out than another edition of the 2-2 Podcast? Listen, I'm so glad and grateful you could join me today. We're continuing our series entitled Unbothered. And I don't want you to miss a minute of it. So you know the move. Grab your friends, grab your family, grab your coworkers. Grab those people you don't like. Hey, don't forget your notebook, your iPad, your laptop, whatever you need to take notes. This is an episode you don't want to miss a second of. Let's lock in. See you in a minute. Have you ever wanted to record a podcast but didn't know the way? Well, I've got good news. Let me tell you about something. It's called Anchor. And Anchor is the easiest way to record a podcast. Let me explain. It's absolutely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So here's what I need you to do. Please download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. What's going on, everybody? And welcome to today's episode. Before we get into it, I want to thank you all for your unending support of Tuesday's episode entitled Blocked. I wanted to do an episode about protecting your energy for a very, very long time. And so it just fit into this current series that we've been doing for the month of February entitled Unbothered. And, I can't thank you all enough for all that you are and all that you continue to be to this show. I'm going to continue to give you the very best that I got. I'm like Anita Baker. I'm giving you the best that I got. And I think I can give a whole lot more. And I'm going to do just that. So you ain't seen nothing yet. We're gonna keep rocking and rolling into going through this year with some amazing opportunities and some amazing things to extend our reach, extend the reach of the 2-2 Podcast and all of its entities. So that being said, again, thank you again. So let's get to work, y'all. So, show of hands. And if you're new to the show, please just get used to me saying show of hands. Even though you can't see me and I can't see you. But for research purposes, raise your hand. Have you ever been told this when you've had a slip of the tongue? Have you ever been threatened because of a slip of the tongue? Have you ever been given these wise words when you accidentally cussed in front of your grandma, your grandparents, your aunt, that church elder, that the pastor, the deacon, the somebody, wherever you've been? Have you ever been given these wise words? Here it is. You ready? It's just 3 of them. So listen closely. Watch your mouth. And see, when we're younger, we don't really understand the impact of those 3 words and the wisdom behind those 3 words until we get older and we're faced with a situation where somebody does us so wrong and we want to go off on them. See, when we were told to watch our mouths, I know when I was told to watch my mouth, when I was younger, I didn't understand what it fully meant until I understood the value of restraint. The value of restraint. See, you often hear me talk about something here, and it's called watch. I've been talking about it. It's been the cornerstone of this show since day one. It has been the absolute cornerstone of the 2-2 podcast. You've heard me talk about this proverb. It's called watch. And it says, watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny. See, we have to understand that what we think turns into what we say. And what we say turns to what we do. And what we do turns into what we continuously and consistently do. And what we consistently do turns into, I basically just said it, what we consistently do. And then that becomes who we are. That becomes what we're known for. And like anybody, I want to be known as somebody who uses wisdom and uses sound judgment and uses sound judgment when it comes to what he says on a day-to-day basis. I want to be that type of person who does another thing that was said to him when he was younger, and that is, think before you speak. You don't always have to say what's on your mind. Sometimes it's good to use restraint. It is good to ask God, listen, Lord, I don't know if I should say this or not. And generally, if you don't know if you should say it, you probably shouldn't say it at all. Sometimes our greatest apprehensions are the ones that protect us from saying something that'll completely just wreck everything. It's our greatest, when we are apprehended, held back. That's the greatest protection we can have at times when we just want to go off on somebody. We want to just say it. I'm going to just say it. It's going to get said. You can't hide from it. You can't get away from it. You can avoid it as much as you can. But eventually, it's going to get said. And sometimes you have to get away from that point where you're just like, I'm just going to say this, and I don't care how anybody feels about it. Sometimes you have to allow God to apprehend your mouth, to make sure that you don't say anything that's going to hurt somebody. Yeah, and people will get offended. People often get offended by the littlest and most minuscule things in life. Yes, absolutely. That's going to happen. People get easily offended. Yes. But in this day and age where offense is running rampant, and the words and the negative words of not only our enemies but our friends are running rampant in this culture, it is our duty to not add to that ongoing problem. In order to change the course of our communities, in order to change the course of our cities, in order to change the course of who we are as a person of destiny, a person of purpose, we must understand the value and the impact of our words. As much as you want to go off on somebody, oh, I'm already yelling. As much as you want to go off on somebody, sometimes you just got to go, you know what? I'm just not going to say it today. I'm just going to watch my mouth. I'm just going to keep it to myself. And I'm not keeping it to myself as a means to, suppress something that's going to cause some damage. I'm keeping it to myself because I know if I say this, it's going to do more damage than it's going to do good. And so I choose not to say it. I choose to give it over to God. Whatever I'm thinking about saying at the moment, I'm choosing at this time to be wise with my words. I'm choosing to use the wisdom of my great-grandparents and my grandparents and mom and dad and aunts and uncles when I had a slip of the tongue or I felt like saying something. I hear the voice of somebody, one of my elders saying, "Son, watch your mouth." See, people will take us to a point and push us to a point where we get to that edge. Have you ever been to the edge, y'all? The edge. Where you wanted to say something so bad and people are just taking you there and taking you there and taking you there and taking you there. And you're right there. It's bubbling. It's welling up in your spirit. Whatever you want to say is welling up in your spirit. And all of a sudden you just go, no, I can't say that. I'm not going to say it. I don't care how much they try to badger me for my opinion. I just can't say it at this time because I know if I say it, it's going to do more damage. It's going to do damage to not only to the person that I say it to, but it's going to do damage to me as well. And I don't want to throw a wrench in my purpose because of the words that I speak to other people. And so not only do we have to get wise about the words that we say to other people, but we have to be wise about the words that we speak upon ourselves. The words that we speak upon ourselves really do damage if we don't say the right thing. Have you ever said something multiple times in your life, multiple times in a day? I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to get this. I don't know how. And then all of a sudden you don't get it at all. Have you ever said something positive numerous times and it happened? See, life and death is in the power of the tongue. I know it's used so often, but we have to understand the impact of our words, not only to others, but to ourselves, and that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And that we have to get wise about what we say to ourselves on a day-to-day basis. We have to get to the point where we say, watch what you say to me. This phrase is no longer for just what other people say to us and what other people say to us when we talk crazy to them. It's okay to be real with yourself, but sometimes you have to say, watch what you say to me. I'll give you a better phrase that's been said in the last year or two. Talk to me nice. Talk like you got some sense. Talk to me nice. I know never mind what you thought I was. Talk to me nice. Never mind what you think I am. Talk to me nice. Watch what you say to me in this season. Because listen, I'm not the same damaged person that I was last year. I know I keep saying that, but I need somebody to understand I'm not some of y'all ain't the same person y'all were at the start and the onset of 2020 and at the end of 2019. You're not the same person. This last year has galvanized who you are. It has allowed you to make some changes in your life. Whether that's lifestyle changes, whether that is health changes in diet, whether that is change in career, whatever that may be. Maybe that is discovering a purpose. Last year has changed a lot of people. And so and the next step, one of the next steps that you need to make, and I hope that you've taken that step in the last year, is understanding the wisdom of understanding the practice of using wisdom with what you say. You have to be wise in this season. But also, not only using wisdom, but using restraint. You have to use restraint in this season as well. Yeah. Talk to him, Stevens. Restraint. Yeah. But also, you also have to let people know. And people, including yourself, you have to let them know. Watch what you say to me. Talk to me nice. Watch your words around me. Watch your tone around me. Because I'm not the same person I was in 2019. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. You can't just say anything to me and it's just going to hurt my feelings. You can't just say anything to me and it's going to make me cuss you out. I don't have the inner. Listen, if I understand that you can't reciprocate the same energy that I have, then let me tell you something. I'm not going to say anything to you. I'm going to ignore what you say, because why would you ignore what somebody has to say about you when they say something crazy? Here's the thing, because I learned the value of wisdom. I got wise in the last few years. I had to understand that every day I'm being tested on all of the things that I grew and healed from. It's a test to see where I am at this point in life. Will I go back to who I was and what I used to do and what I used to say, all to satisfy the needs of other people, or because I felt lonely, or I felt like who I am now isn't who I used to be, and who I am now isn't enough? There's a Bible verse that my youth pastor always used to remind us about. He would always say to us, as a dog returns to its vomit, so does a fool to its folly. As a dog returns to its vomit, and you've all seen a dog do this. Don't play. I know that was, if you're eating, I apologize, but it just needs to be said. And y'all have seen this happen. Don't allow the old you to creep up just because the old you, the inner you, that oftentimes can be the enemy, doesn't like sudden change. Don't allow yourself to go back to that place. Life is about change and choice. And you cannot engage what you're not willing to change. Whether it's a culture, whether it's a community, you can't change, and you need both. You can't have one without the other. And it starts with what we say. And I understand that the world that we live in is it just sucks. The world that we live in where, and I'm going to come back to that, I'm going to reiterate something from Tuesday, where grown adults would rather talk about the negative things and talk about all the things that this somebody has to do, and that anybody can do what this person has done. I'm going to go back to this because it needs to be said. how adults can literally almost kill the dream. And I don't believe they have, but they've attempted to kill the dream in a 17-year-old senior in high school who has been accepted to 50 colleges. I said this on Tuesday, but I gotta say it again because we gotta understand the wisdom and the power. We have to understand the power of our words. Yeah. We have to understand that. That she took time out of her day to celebrate herself and hoped a majority of the people will celebrate her as well. Getting accepted to 50 schools. 50. What? Some of us only got accepted to a couple. Some of us only got accepted to one. Some didn't get accepted at all. And so, instead of celebrating this great and momentous accomplishment, there are some people that decided to choose violence. They choose to be negative in this moment. Talk about how anybody can apply to 50 schools, this, that, and third, and she's got to pay this, and she's got to do that. And we don't know whether she applied or they sent her letters for scholarships. We don't know personally. But instead of being celebratory with our words and congratulating her with our words and wishing her well and praying for her success and affirming her that whatever school she chooses out of the 50, whether it's Penn State or whether it's Iowa, whether it's a HBCU, whether it's Norfolk State, whatever school it may be that's on that list of 50, instead of praying for her success and affirming her and asking her if she needs anything, we chose, and not me, but people chose to run their mouths about anybody can apply to 50 schools and get in. And we have to understand about the impact about what we say to other people, about other people. Yeah, we have to understand that in a great way. There was a lesson that I was taught that you should never, there are people that have been around me or that I've known that have made fun of people's kids who have certain birth defects or certain issues, or made fun of people who have had certain birth defects, certain issues, certain, marks, scars, they've made fun of them. And I was taught to never make fun of somebody who has a deformity, a defect of any sort. Here's the deal. I'm going to tell you why. There's a lesson in this. Because it may not get to you, but it may get to somebody in your bloodline. May even get to one of your children in the future. So you have to watch what you say about other people's kids. You have to watch what you say about other people, period. And for those of you, for those who chose to be negative towards this young lady about her getting into 50 schools, I pray that when your kids are faced with that same situation, that you don't get bent out of shape when people do the same thing to them that you did to this young lady. I congratulate her. I am excited for her. And I pray that whatever school she goes to, that she's at the top of her class. I can't stress this enough. I know I talked about it Tuesday and whatever. I pray. Because if nobody else affirms her, she's done the necessary things to even get 50 schools. She's done the necessary things to even get 1, 2, 5, 10. Are you kidding me? And some of the schools on that list, gosh, do you know what your GPA has to be to get in some of those schools? But some of you don't want to look at it that way. Y'all want to look at the dark side of things. Y'all want to be evil. Y'all want to be negative. You have to understand the impact of your words in this season to others. You have to understand the impact of your words to yourself. This is no longer a season to be negative towards. You can be real, but you have to. And I had to learn how to do this. I may not be where I want to be right now, but I believe that through prayer and work and consistency, that I won't be in this place right where I am. I won't be in this place for long. That I'm going up. That I'm going higher. That I'm about to impact people all across this globe. That I'm about to do some amazing things. I may not be where I want to be right now. With contracts and traveling and speaking engagements and a studio and, a sound stage and nice equipment and everything. I may not be where I want to be right now. But sooner rather than later. That's for somebody right now. Somebody needs to say to themselves, sooner than later. Slap yourself right now. I'm getting a little church. Sorry, the preacher in me is coming in here. But slap yourself and say, sooner than later. I'm not going to be in this place anymore. See, you got to understand the power of what you say to yourself. And I'm here to say sooner rather than later. Everything that I worked for and I cried for and that I spoke life on, everything that I said was going to happen, everything I sold into, is going to be everything that it's going to be what I said it was going to be. Everything that I spoke into existence is going to happen. But I have to understand the value of what I say and what I say consistently. Sooner rather than later. What I sowed in tears, I reap in joy. There's somebody right now listening to this show that's at their very wit's end, that don't know where to go next. They don't have $1 to change. They're trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. That's old school for you Gen X kids. We used to play a game and the doctor can't trying to make it. Ronald McDonald sitting on the bench trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. There's somebody that don't have $1 to change making $1 out of 15 cents that don't know where to go. But let me tell you where to start. Start with what you say to yourself. Look in the mirror daily. Consistently, every time you go into the bathroom, every time you go to a bathroom, even if you don't say it out loud, say it to yourself. Watch what you say to me. Talk to me nice in this season. I can't go for what I can't go for who I used to be back in 2019. I can't go for that anymore. I can't say what I used to say back in the day. I can't do it. This ain't the same me. I'm trying to go to a different place in life where I'm successful, where I'm prospering, where I'm healthy, mentally, physically, vocally, spiritually, psychologically. I'm going to a different place. And it all starts with what I say to myself at all times. Do negative words come around me? Absolutely. Do negative thoughts run through my mind sometimes? Yes. But I have a choice to feed in to the negativity or feed my mind and my spirit with positive and affirming words. As a man thinketh, so shall he be. But also am reminded of a verse that we used to say at the beginning of 2020 at my old church. Just the very end of it. Well, the verse itself. The words that you speak, so shall it be. The words that you speak, so shall it be. We have to understand the power of our words. We have to understand, as what Proverbs 15:4 says, that gentle words bring life and health, and a deceitful tongue crushes the spirit. And what Proverbs 16:24 says, that kind words are like honey and sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. And what Proverbs 18:4 says, I need y'all to read Proverbs because it will help you out. A person's words can be life-giving water. Words of true wisdom are as refreshing as a bubbling brook. Gentle words bring life and health. So I just need to know right now, what will you do in this season? What will you do going into this weekend to change your words? What will you do to make sure that you get wise about the words that you speak on a day-to-day basis? What will you do to make sure that you say to yourself, watch what you say to me? What will you do? I encourage you to start to speak life to a dead situation. To speak and sow words of positivity and that are positive and affirming and that are uplifting. In a season where people are sowing words that are negative and damaging. What will you say? What will you do? And what will you do consistently to get wise about your words? Hey, listen, thank you for joining the show today. Don't forget to follow the show page and my personal page. The show page is 22_podcast. That is 22_podcast on Instagram. And my personal page at AlexJ_live. That is AlexJ_live. Please don't forget the 22 podcast has merch. That's on 22apparel.threadless.com. That is 22apparel.threadless.com. See you soon.